Alright, this is going to be on repairing the MagSafe 1. These are not all that easily serviced. They're not screwed together. They are glued or some sort of bonding process. But the actual process of replacing them is fairly easy. You can get replacement cords on Amazon for a pretty small price. And it's complete right down to the parts that solder on. Now, a lot of people I see on the internet use a pair of needle nose pliers, and that works perfectly fine. If you happen to have retaining rings pliers, like these here, these will work in a little bit more controlled fashion. And what you're going to do is that you're going to open up the cord keepers on each end, and you're going to put it down inside there. Well, how well you can see it here. There you are. And just gently open it. There you are. And you're going to do that for both sides. Notice that there are little ears on both sides of these. Those fit into little sockets on both sides here. And you're going to have to put these back along with the little spring when you're assembling them. And it sort of looks like this one popped at the same time that I did the other one. Yes. Alright. So now you should just be able to just gently pry it apart and go around the edges. You can pry the case pretty aggressively. I can't say I've ever managed to break one of these while prying on them. Just take your time. There's obviously no hurry to what you're doing here. You're trying to repair instead of having to replace something like this, so take your time. You could also use a stout spudger on this as well. There we are. Notice the springs stayed in this assembly here. Now remember, this power supply is connected right here, so you can't just yank this out. You can see what's inside there and everything. Peel back the tape here so that we can get to its connector. By the way, try not to touch too much on the back of this unless you discharge the caps, because it will give you little tiny shocks. It's nothing harmful, it's shocking. I know it sort of looks awful the way I'm pulling this off, but that's the only way you can do it. Essentially, it's going to be that one and that one that you're going to have to soften. Now this one's a little bit better attached inside there than others that I've taken apart. Actually, I'm mistaken. That is that blob and that blob are the ones you're going to want to remove. Alright, so time to warm up the soldering iron. Now if you've ever used a soldering iron, I would probably suggest that you probably don't want to do this project. It's not that soldering is hard, but a little bit of experience goes a long way in a project like this, especially as tight as it is. It smells like the soldering iron's getting close. Not quite yet. You will want to tape this back, as you might well imagine. So try not to destroy the pieces of tape that you're using. Yeah. We're perfectly warm now. That's one. There's two. There we are. And as you might imagine, you want to put the black in the same spot that the black was and the white in the same spot. It's going to be a little bit tricky if you don't happen to have a soldering fixture to hold things. Let's see. You want a little bit big blob there. There's that one. And before I go too much farther, let's double check that I didn't just bridge something there. Pardon my reach. Okay, now I'm fine. Alright. Now for the white lead. You know, I hadn't anticipated how tricky it would be to solder this and not obscure the camera at the same time. Alright, you. Hopefully the camera can see that. But the second one I'm soldering is right there. There we are. The soldering part is done. We'll now unplug the soldering iron. These are usually a little bit fussy about going back into their spot. There we are. As computer or laptop power supplies go, these things are fairly complex. I've taken apart ones from that, the more generic ones that you find with like HP and Asus. And I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but there are little nibs inside this stress relief, and those go in those notches that you see on there. So we'll work that in on that side. And we'll drop it in this way so our springs don't come out. And before you close it up fully, which I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself, gently pry it open there. All right. So that's assembled. Now, keeping these together, there's a couple thoughts. I've seen people just put rubber bands around them. And, you know, that works if you expect you're going to get into this thing again. I strongly suspect for the life of this connector, I'm not going to get inside this thing again. So I'm just going to glue it together. Let me go get my applicator. All right. Here's an hypo applicator, and normally you would fill this with like Weld-On number 3. My bottle of Weld-On number 3 has evaporated away, so I'll have to glue this back together at a later date. But essentially you would fill one of these hypo applicators halfway full, squeeze it, and that way, as it slowly goes back to its normal shape, it's actually sucking air in, it doesn't dribble. And you would just run, it'll be there, there, and there. And that would be sufficient to hold it together. I wouldn't bother doing those two joints there. And now you have a useful charger again. Let's bring in a laptop to connect it to. and you're ready to go. See, there's the light. And you have a charger with the newer L style as well, which is nice and low profile. And you've saved yourself nearly $100 on buying a brand new one. Thanks for watching my channel. And hit like if you liked the video, or comment if you so wish. As I said, this is relatively simple for someone who has done some tinkering in the past. If you're a novice and have never taken apart something electronic, I would probably say don't attempt it. Have a great day.